Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. So the theme in coaching this week with my clients has been surrounding pressure and the feeling of pressure coming from all different areas, the feeling of needing to do what we need to do to survive. And in these conversations, it's very interesting to me because what's recurring in this is that there is constriction, there is limitation, there is this feeling of I can only see and be right here in this tunnel and I can't see the forest through the trees. I'm not getting any sort of clarity. I'm not feeling like I can move. It's like that stickiness, that heaviness. A client this morning, she felt literally constriction in her chest. And so what I want to talk about here with you today is about removing pressure. The thing about it is that pressure is very, very real. And no matter how many people want to paint this pretty picture of everything is flowing and everything is as it should be, and if we can just lean back, then we can receive, and all of those things, I hear it, I know it, I trust it, I've been on both sides of it. But the reality is that when you're in this situation where it feels like you're in a pressure cooker, when you're in the exact situation of I need to perform, I need to create, I need to coach, I need to make money, I need to do all of these things, and I still need to take care of me. And so what's happening is there's this feeling of so much pressure to where you just aren't getting anywhere and aren't moving in the direction that you want to move in because you're feeling trapped, because you're feeling restricted, because there is this really, really powerful feeling of I don't know how I'm supposed to get there when I'm here right now and I feel stuck. I feel so uncreative. I feel so unable to even think about how I could possibly get to that next place. So what happens is when we're in this pressure cooker situation, then we start moving from that place. Then we're taking action from the place of force, and we're taking action from the place of urgency. And for me it's force. And it's like as a human design generator, I know that that's the opposite of the way that I'm supposed to be moving from. And so in this idea of, okay, well, we know that we need to move from a place of the intention of, okay, I'm not moving from force. I'm moving from trust. I'm moving from the knowing that everything is going to be as it should, while also knowing that, hey, like this is a real situation that's going on. For me personally, in my business, I have felt immense pressure. There's so much pressure when it comes to the reality of I am the breadwinner. I am the one who provides for our family. I have 3 children. Like these are very real things that are happening in my life. And so to almost like discredit them by telling myself, well, just trust that something's going to show up. I think there's some invalidation in that. And I think that there's a lot of almost entitlement in the industry when we are not careful with how we tell people to move. And so that's why with my clients, and as we've discussed this week, and as I want to share with you today, the way that we can remove pressure and urgency is we're going to go in depth in this, but like there's two parts of it. There is a part that is actionable. It's not just about like, okay, we'll just release and surrender. And yes, that is definitely part of it, but also honoring your real necessities. And I think that's what's not being addressed. And so there are so many of you business owners who are feeling this pressure, the pressure to perform, the pressure to create, the pressure to show up, the pressure to actually consistently have income coming into your business, have your income rising higher, have people coming into your new offers, all of the things. And it feels like pressure. So what do we do with this? What do we do when we're feeling pressured, when we're feeling like, yes, okay, I am recognizing that I am in this pressure cooker to where I feel like every move that I make has to be so calculated and I can only see what's right in front of me. I can't see the bigger picture right now because I'm buried in the reality of my life. So what do we do? And in this conversation that I had with a client this morning, one of the most powerful things that you can do when you're feeling pressured, when you're feeling like you're moving from a place of force or urgency, is take a step back and look into a mirror and take an honest inventory of what of that pressure is actually self-imposed. So here's the interesting thing that happens is that we think that there is this immense amount of pressure that is on us. And some of that is real, and some of that is our own expectations making it feel real. And so we have to separate the two. In this situation, we were talking about finances. We were talking about certain expectations around what she's supposed to do to provide for her family. We were talking about all of this, and it was crushing her. And because it was crushing her, she could only see like, okay, well, maybe I need to go get another part-time job. It was all about that Band-Aid approach of let me just, if I'm moving from this place of I need to fix this thing right now, I need to fix this thing right now, what would that be? And just to please that fearful, like constricted feeling, those were the thoughts that were coming up for her. So instead, we started to break things apart. We started to look at all these different areas that she was feeling pressure from, because there is external pressure that is real. There is external pressure from bills that you have to pay or places you have to show up or whatever that is. There is real external pressures. And then there is internal pressures. There are things that you are causing more pressure on yourself to perform, to create, to entertain, to people please, for it to be perfect, whatever that is. And that's coming directly from you. So the key to removing the pressure, to opening up that pressure valve, is you recognizing what of this pressure is actually self-imposed. What of these things that I'm feeling forceful in or forced into or misaligned with, what of these things am I actually actively choosing? What am I actively saying yes to that I need to say no to? What am I doing right now that is an expectation that I'm holding for myself, that is an expectation that came from somebody else? What is a belief that I'm holding about what my business or my life should or should not look like that is not mine, but someone else's? Because a lot of it, once we started to unravel this pressure and where it was coming from, so much of her pressure was coming from herself and the expectations that she was holding for herself and the position that she should be in and what she should be able to do and where she should be and this and that and the other. And so what I asked her to do was I said, hey, what if we extend a timeline, right? So when we're talking about financial pressure, that's something that's very real, especially as an entrepreneur. Like we are we're coming out of a culture that has been conditioned to steady paychecks, steady income. We know every month how much we're going to make. And now we're thrown into this idea of, oh my gosh, freedom and amazingness and so cool. I could work from the beach. But the reality is that's also coupled with, oh shit, I'm the one that has to make the sales. I'm the one that brings the stuff in. It's not handed to me anymore. And so the pressure from that is crushing people. And that's what we have to remember when we're talking about financial pressure, is that especially in entrepreneurship, if you have the expectation that your income should rise and rise and rise and rise, and that it's this linear process and it's always getting more and better, it's like normalizing those waves, which I talked about on another episode, but normalizing that and releasing the pressure of the expectation that it should look a certain way. Because what's happening is you're cutting off your own feet. You're cutting off your creativity. You're cutting off your freedom and your space. And what was discovered with this client today is that the freedom and the lack of freedom that she was feeling, the limitation, the constriction that she was feeling in her chest, was brought on by her, because she was holding these unrealistic expectations. And so to release the pressure, to stop moving from the place of urgency and force, it was about, let's look at what is in place that is coming from you, and how can we shift that to ask ourselves, is that necessary? Does that really need to be there? Because, for example, something like paying off debt. For a lot of people, they're like, yes, I have a goal to pay off X amount of dollars, or I have a goal to save X amount of dollars, in cash to be able to invest into mentoring, or whatever that looks like. And we put this timeline on it, and then it feels like, okay, well, now I can't live my life because I have to go and put this money as dedicated to over here. I get it. We need to be responsible adults, and we need to make sure that we're paying attention where our finances go. But at the same sense, if you're restricting yourself, you are restricting yourself by making that choice, and it's causing you to not live the life that you want to live. What if, I asked this to my client this morning, what if you're saving all this money and you die tomorrow? I'm not telling you not to save your money. I save my money. I'm a responsible adult. What I am telling you is that you need to look at the things that you're feeling pressure from and ask yourself if you've attached a timeline to that. Because the reality is that if you have a goal, and this pressure comes from even like launching in your business, getting a certain amount of clients, a certain amount, hitting a certain income goal, whatever it is. If there is a goal that you've set, and that goal starts to make you feel smaller, starts to make you move from scarcity, force, urgency, you feel pressured because you said, I'm going to hit this goal this month, then you're completely detached from the purpose of a goal, which is to make you feel better, to make you feel, keep you motivated, have you work towards something. So really sit back and ask yourself, do I have certain goals for myself that I've put on an actual timeline that is unnecessary? Because as someone who has reached many, many goals in business, in life, in lifting, in all the things, there was never a moment that I reached a goal and I was like, wow, it took me way too long to get here. Instead, it was all celebration of reaching the goal. So can you extend a timeline that you've set for yourself that is causing pressure in your life? Can you reevaluate expectations that you are holding for your life, your business, and your relationships that are unrealistic that you are thinking should be a certain way that you're pulling from either comparison or an old belief that you need to get rid of. That's what I'm asking you to do today. You remove pressure by identifying what is the self-imposed pressure. What is it that's constricting me that I am actively choosing? And then you remove it, and then you choose something different, and then you extend the timeline. Then you say, okay, well, what is the compromise here? If you want to pay off all of your debt in 2 years and that's making you not live your life right now, then what would happen if you extended that to 4 years and got to live your life? Win-win. Like, we hold so much judgment and so many unrealistic expectations that it's not serving us. So most of the pressure that you're feeling is coming from you. And the power in that is that you get to be the one who actively releases that. You get to surrender and say, you know what? I don't have to feel this anymore because I'm choosing it. What a fucking relief that is. I don't have to choose this pressure anymore. And when you release that pressure, the actual things that matter, that are necessity for your life, it's incredible how suddenly those you have energy to be able to walk through. Those don't feel as heavy anymore. Because we are made to carry certain amounts of pressure. But when you overload yourself, your central nervous system, your life, your calendar, whatever it is, then you push yourself past the capacity and you can't even see what's yours and what's someone else's anymore. And that's another piece that I want to remind you of here today, is that if there is pressures that are coming in externally, you can also choose which of those you want to sign up for. So the best thing that you can do is, if you're feeling in a place of pressure, if you are feeling like, okay, I'm running my business and it feels heavy and it feels hard, is to evaluate that. What else in your life feels heavy and hard? And what else outside of your business feels easy and flowy and fulfilling? Because let's also remember input versus output. Things feel heavier. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you're like, you stub your toe and then you have a fucking horrible rest of the day just because you stubbed your toe. Let's not let everything roll together. Let's realize, okay, I can stub my toe and then still have a good day, right? So separate the different pressures that you're feeling. There's pressures from bills. There's pressures from business expenses. There's pressures from this. There is this amount of money or this amount of love or this amount of this that I actively need to be okay. And anything beyond that, I'm not signing up for. Anything pushing me outside of that, anything threatening that, we're not here for. It's not something that I'm signing up for. That gets to be your choice. So the biggest reminder for you to take away today is that when you're feeling constricted, restricted, in the pressure cooker of business and life and all the things, and it's weighing heavy, is to take it off. Take the weight off. Because I can guarantee probably half of it that you're carrying is your own and is by choice. There are a million solutions to every single problem. But we cannot think from a place of being solution focused if we are so caught up in the mud, if we are stuck in the mud, if we're stuck in the shit, if we're in the dark tunnel. So turn on the light, take a look in the mirror, and ask yourself, what expectations am I holding? What shoulds am I saying? What timelines am I putting myself on? And then rearrange. and see how that feels. I hope this is helpful for you guys. As somebody who has run my business for, oh my gosh, it's 11 years this year, I understand what pressure feels like. I understand that it's very real. And I will be the last person to ever invalidate the realness of that. But the pressure feels much different when you're only accepting the pressures that are real instead of putting more pressures on yourself with your expectations and stuff that's not yours. So, thank you guys for being here with me today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'm always open for conversation around this or anything else. If you are interested in working together, you can always shoot me a DM and we can talk deeper into what that looks like. I'm so excited to be able to teach Elevation tomorrow. If you are not signed up for that class, we have a new program releasing next week that's going to be incredible. All sorts of spaces that you can slide into. So let me know if you have questions, and I hope this message has been what you needed to hear today. So enjoy your Thursday.